Gen Z, I think our brains are irreversibly rotted. And as much as we try to reverse that, unfortunately, I do think it's permanent.
How old is too old to go clubbing?
To go clubbing?
Yeah.
23.
23? So after 23, he shouldn't go out clubbing, or it's embarrassing, you think?
It's embarrassing.
How old are you?
21.
You're 21? Okay, but you just started drinking.
Yeah, but like, it's just weird. Like, imagine like a 23-year-old guy coming up to me. That's weird.
Okay, this is just entirely wrong. Firstly, at least in my opinion, there is no too old to go clubbing. If all you're doing is simply just dancing with your friends to some good music and sipping on some fun drinks at the same time for a good night out, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with going out clubbing when you're older. I have met some cool ass women in their 40s whenever I've gone out, and they are genuinely some of the funniest people that you will ever meet. But secondly, in America, which is unsurprisingly where this interview took place, the legal drinking age is 21 years old, unlike the rest of the world, such as the UK or Australia, where it's 18 years old. So if you start your clubbing journey at 21 years old and you think that 23 is too old to be clubbing, you literally only have like 2 years to go clubbing. Like, you've just been allowed in right now. Why are you already giving yourself a time limit? It makes zero sense. And then we have this video of two girls trying to write their own mother a card for Mother's Day, but they're struggling to do so because they can't use ChatGPT to figure out what to write. Are we being genuinely serious right now? This is one of the most bizarre posts I've ever seen, because that is your literal mother. Look, clearly I don't support using AI when people are doing their schoolwork, like at all. But I can at least understand why kids would run to use it for their work, because they don't know the answers. However, I genuinely cannot wrap my head around this one, because you know your mother. Not only did she give you life to be able to use ChatGPT, and not only did she raise you into the person that you are today, but she supported you and continues to support you in almost every aspect of your life. And you still don't know what to write down for her to show your appreciation without getting a robot who can't understand emotional connections and doesn't have the memories with your mother that you have with your mother to write the card for you. That is heartless. Now, Gen Z, y'all know I love y'all and I will defend us at any chance I get, but this is just ridiculous. POV, you started water-based cooking and now your skin is clear, your stomach is thriving, and you recover from illness overnight. And I just cannot believe those were real words that just came out of my mouth there. Water-based cooking? You mean soup? This is not a brand new concept. So I don't know why we're suddenly acting like this is a never before seen invention that previous generations didn't have the technology to make. Like, humans have been making soup since 20,000 BC. Like, the moment we figured out how to create pots and bowls and spoons from clay, we were basically ready to get on that soup grind. Oh, but I recovered from illness overnight. Yeah, that's why they made and ate that soup back then. All those years ago, that's why they did that. Oh my God, but my skin is clearing up because you're consuming lots and lots of water. But my stomach is thriving. That's because you're eating less processed foods and eating more vegetables. Oh my God. Boiling meat and vegetables together in liquid is not a TikTok trend. It's what humans have been eating for survival and to keep warm since like the dawn of time, basically. Gen Z, we need to be serious. Let's not lie here. You're just being healthy. It doesn't need to be this complicated.
I'm camping at Coachella for the very first time, and I wanted to bring a piece of my apartment out into the desert. I already set up the canopies, but let's set up the rest. Of course, we got to start with the tarp, and did I bring an entire rug out into the desert? Yes. I was really going for like classic vintage camping site, but a little bit more elevated. elevated, so I just brought this folding table, put this tablecloth on top for some color, and no campsite's complete without a bed that I of course had to add my personal touch to. And for seating, I brought this director's chair and a few collapsible chairs, and as much as I wanted a vintage cooler, I couldn't find one in time, so this one's gonna have to do. I did, however, find this really cool vintage trunk for all of my clothes that I packed in, and there was no way this tourist was gonna go a whole weekend without a whole bunch of snacks. The table was looking a little bare, so I set up some knickknacks, just kept it classic Coachella cowboy vintage, and then I used my cowboy hats that I'm wearing this weekend as decor, and even tied a few of my bandanas on the wall. And it just felt right to grab this little cactus when I was packing for the trip, and I even have a little shower set up in the corner. And that's the setup. I'm really happy with how it turned out. What do you think? I think I successfully brought my home into the desert, and I think I'm in for a pretty cozy weekend if you ask me.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way.
Hold on. I genuinely loathe to say this, but I completely understand why older generations say that we never would have survived something like Woodstock 1999. Because they're absolutely right when they say that. Rolling out a rug that you bought from your lounge room in your home is insane. Being disappointed that you couldn't buy a vintage cooler to fit your classic vintage cowboy aesthetic, despite already owning a perfectly working cooler, is strange. Bringing random decor from around your house because your snack table looked empty, so you need to have a bunch of unnecessary objects to fill the space, is wildly unnecessary. And finishing decorating your area with a fake cactus, even though you're in the desert where you can see real cacti around you, is genuinely the most performative thing that I've ever seen. A ticket for Coachella this year was $600, and yet you still wanted to buy brand new items to bring with you that you'll only need for 2 days, literally 48 hours. And to say that this is a very average setup for Coachella, knowing that most people who attended Coachella this year had to use buy now, pay later schemes and finances in order to be able to afford a ticket to go, is quite honestly the most out of touch statement that I've ever heard. Because most people were camping out of their own cars. That's an average Coachella setup.
Here's a little tour of the camping safari area. People bring their inflatable pools and fill them up, and it's really cute, and decorate their tents. The bathrooms are right there, and then these are the showers.
Call me cringe all you want, but this isn't what going to a music festival is all about. Why do you think that our parents had such a good time at the festivals that they went to when they were younger and still tell stories from those days today? Because they didn't care about anything else but making memories and enjoying their youth, enjoying the time they're spending at this festival, and making the most out of tough conditions. That is how you create memories, not trying to buy vintage items to make your $10,000 tent as aesthetic for social media as you possibly can. Growing up in a fast driving family is not giving a damn that your sister is shopping on Target while y'all are doing 90 miles an hour in traffic. For those unaware, those who aren't American, 90 miles is 144 kilometers per hour. It's one thing to be speeding like an absolute maniac for no reason, but it's another for the literal driver of this speeding car to not only have both of her hands off of the steering wheel, but to also have her eyes focused downwards on her Target shopping cart and not on the road where they're supposed to be, is just a recipe for disaster. I'm glad y'all made it home safe, but keep this behavior up and one day you won't. And it's not just your life that you're playing with, you're also playing with other people's lives by doing this when they're just trying to get home to their families. So you may think this is cool, but this behavior will rightfully get your license revoked. And Pilates aren't even Pilates anymore. It's literally some sort of Black Mirror parody episode of people raising a pink flower every time they rep and then taking a sip of their matcha drink when coming back down. This is genuinely the most unserious thing that I've ever seen in my life. It's great that people are moving their bodies, but the fact that we're trying to make it as aesthetic as possible by purchasing flowers to make our poses look prettier and nullifying our exercise by consuming a matcha drink, again, for the aesthetic, because that's just what's currently trending, just makes a complete joke out of working out. What happened to just changing into some old raggedy shorts and going outside for a run? Like, I don't know about you, but this is just peak late stage capitalism, because instead of prioritizing moving our bodies for our health and for our future, it quite literally looks like this is just a matcha worshipping session, like praying to matcha. It's like that one episode of South Park about gentrification, and if you know what I'm referencing, then you could fully understand where I'm coming from. And don't even get me started on this. Oh my god, how did you get those perfect TSA bin photos? I didn't. I got TSA bins from Amazon because TSA is way too stressful to arrange a perfect lay flat photo. Please do tell, why on earth would a perfectly arranged TSA bin photo matter this much? Like, you're not even going anywhere. So what is the point of trying to convince hundreds, if not thousands, of random people that you don't know online that you're traveling and that you were able to finesse airport security by taking aesthetic pictures of your belongings? Or why is this even a trend? Instead of what actually matters, which is pictures of your actual holidays. We are prioritizing the wrong things in life, people. You're in your office doing this. What is going on? What are we doing? Then this literal fetus commented under someone's video, girl, my grandparents were born in the late 60s and early 70s. Y'all's parents are just old. Are you taking the piss? My parents aren't old. You're just 5 years old. How out of touch do you have to be to call someone else's parents old just because their grandparents weren't born when your grandparents were? That's unbelievable. Where are these kids getting the audacity? My grandfather was born in the 1940s, like most of Gen Z's grandparents were, because that's normal. So to imply that it isn't normal simply just because your grandparents were born later is absolutely absurd. Hanging with your type B friend who hates plastic and wants the entire world to know it, she says, while adding plastic to the world. This is essentially the equivalent of if I said I hated wasting food and then I go ahead and throw away an entire sandwich I just ordered for lunch. Or if I said I hated wasting water and then leaving my tap running as I leave the house to run errands. Or saying I hate wasting money and then throwing $1,000 directly into a campfire. Like, you know what you could do instead of adding to the trash? Pick it up and throw it away. But no, that would require actual work. And you don't want to do that, do you? Because that is just too much effort. God, this is so tone deaf. This is that type of fake activism that does absolutely nothing for the planet, but at least it makes the person feel good for feeling like they're doing something. I can't believe people still buy cutting boards from Home Goods when they could get something like this for $145 from an independent designer who makes everything by hand. Because a cutting board from a regular department store is like $8 and I save $137 by not buying from you. I of course support independent businesses, but in this current economy it is not only outrageous but unrealistic to expect regular people to be able to spend that much money on a cutting board. Like, rent needs to be paid, you know? The way that I see it is that you're more than welcome to make these products and charge whatever you want from the work that you put into it. Go right ahead. But that does not give you the right to guilt people into buying those products. Nobody is obligated to give you their money. I'm not poor, but I I'm not rich either. This person says as they show their iPhone, their shoe rack filled with branded sneakers, their coat hanger with a $250 Ralph Lauren jacket on it, their pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses, a diamond bracelet, an expensive watch, Dior and Oakley bags, and whatever GRA cards are. I don't know, I'm not rich enough to know. Yeah, so if you want people to think that you're rich, maybe don't flex the Ralph Lauren and the Dior and the Ray-Bans that you own. Maybe we could start there. This is like wearing a shirt that says, please look at me, and then complaining when people look at you. Like, if you don't want people to think that you're rich, then don't show things that only rich people can afford right now. It's not cute. It's just annoying. And don't even get me started on the thousands of Gen Z resellers who raid the stock at Goodwill and leave nothing for the people who actually need the clothing, just so that they can pick out the best pieces and sell them on Depop for $150. Despite only purchasing a piece for $15. I work at a thrift store and see tons of them come through. There are even 3 guys who show up every single day just hanging around like it's their personal lounge. And then the moment a new rack rolls out, they just swarm it. I can't stand resellers. Thrifting used to be fun. I've been going since I was a kid, but thanks to them, it's lost all its charm for me. And I completely understand this outrage, because this ruins thrifting for people who are actually struggling financially. How are they supposed to get anything as new stock rolls out when a bunch of kids in $200 Stussy hoodies start tearing clothes apart like they're zombies eating a human in The Walking Dead? It's disgusting. And I know what people are gonna say to try and justify this. Oh, but Hayley, at least they're not ending up in the landfill. Yeah, well, not really, because these clothes are not being bought by people who truly need the clothes. And when those thrifted clothes don't get sold on their Depop, where exactly do you think those clothes will end up when the seller can't get rid of them? Exactly, right where they started. To the mum who is driving their child to another therapy session while your friends cart their kids to sport practice, I see you. You're not alone. Wow, okay. Way to make your child feel like a burden and that they ruin your day if they ever so happen to see that their mother has posted this online. Do you know the guilt a child would feel? It's okay if you feel like this in your alone time, but you don't need to put it online for the entire world to see. Lastly, I give up. I can't save my generation. AI has got Gen Z in such a vice grip that you're quite literally in the minority if you don't use it. Because this video of somebody acting like they're buddy-buddy with their ChatGPT got over 1 million likes on Instagram. Like, when you've got human beings commenting that talking to ChatGPT is the healthiest relationship they've ever been in, we are so far gone off into the deep end that I think it's useless to try and fight back against that widespread use of AI now. It's like I can't do anything but sit back and watch it happen. And I will never understand why y'all fight tooth and nail to make AI seem like it's your best friend and trust its advice over and over again when it keeps proving to everyone that it's absolutely useless and will fail your tests by giving you all of the wrong answers. Oh, but Pat's a good friend, right? POV, you inherited $20 million from your middle-class parents and you're supposed to be happy, but you're finally understanding rich people problems are a real thing. There is war. There is famine. There is poverty in this world right now. But we're supposed to feel bad that you inherited $20 million? That's like winning the lottery. Do you know how many people in this world right now would do anything to wake up $20 million richer? There are people who are struggling to buy a bag of groceries, 1 bag of groceries. And I think those people would much rather have to hire an accountant than figure out whether or not they have enough money to feed their family for a week. Like, read the room. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Mwah. I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.